Hi everyone, my name is Nana Ofuswa and I'm a second year MBA student here at Cornell Johnson. Welcome to week 7 of the Leaders in Emerging Markets class. For today's class, we have with us Wim and Pradeep, who will be speaking to us about emerging markets fixed income and emerging markets climate. We're looking forward to having them for class today. Hi everyone, welcome to week 7 of the Leaders in Emerging Markets class. For today's class, we have with us Wim and Pradeep, who will be speaking to us about the experiences in emerging markets and talking specifically on emerging markets fixed income. So why don't we start with you, Wim? Can you tell us a bit about your career, your journey, and what role you're currently in?
Absolutely, and thank you for inviting us. So my name is Wim Vandenhoeck. I graduated from the business school 30 years ago here in Cornell. Started working as a credit analyst for US high yields, if you can believe that, Pradeep, some 30 years ago. That was in the mid-90s. Now, the mid-90s was also an interesting period as there are quite a few hiccups in emerging markets, and the Brady bonds, definitely come to mind as well in restructuring in Mexico. So I started to focus on the credit side in emerging markets as well, and that naturally evolved into then when the local markets opened up, so local government bonds opened up in emerging markets, so rates and FX exposure, started looking at that for the last 20 years. And then for the last 5 years, I've also been kind of working on having an impact, like climate impact fund, working on that in emerging markets, certainly in kind of the lower middle income and low income countries. Some of these countries that did not contribute to climate change but are very much impacted, and trying to kind of combine public money and private money and invest in kind of solutions to deal with climate change in those countries. But happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. How about you, Pradeep? Can you tell us a bit about your journey?
Thank you again for having me alongside my friend Wim. So my career journey is I've been for the last 27 years or so in emerging market currencies and interest rates area. I'm currently portfolio manager at Prudential, and we compete with Wim's firm all the time. Prior to that, I did my PhD in economics, and before that, I was an engineer in India. The good part of my job is, or the bad part of my job is, I'm doing exactly the same thing what I did my dissertation. I was fascinated by something called currencies. I did my dissertation in currencies, and I'm still doing the same stuff. What fascinates me is that emerging markets have evolved. I joined this industry in '97. Really was lucky because just a few months later, the Asian crisis started. So if I have not gotten a job in '97 February, but I've never gotten a job post-like. So I've seen the evolution of how at one point emerging markets were on the back foot. Now, many emerging markets are calling shots. I think that's the biggest change. So happy to be here and happy to share my experience with students.
Interesting. What would you say your favorite emerging markets are? So what countries would you say you had the most amazing experiences working in?
Today or in the past?
Throughout your journey.
I mean, call it, I think for us, being emerging market fixed income, we tend to focus a lot more on Latin America.
Okay.
Just because that's where the more opportunity set is. And that's where these countries tend to rely more on external funding.
Okay.
So Brazil, if I have to put one country in Latin America, Brazil is fascinating.
It's hard to call some of them emerging. I mean, I think they're from an investment perspective, actually trade and behave similar to developing, because the way we used to trade rates or effects in those countries as well. So that's fascinating. I'm particularly now interested in some of the lower middle income countries where you can make a big difference in some of the solutions that you can bring from a climate perspective. But we can talk about that during the class.
During the class, yes, absolutely.
I would add Mexico too.
Okay.
Mexico has definitely surprised me on the more upside for the past couple of years. It started with NAFTA, but over the years it has, from the financial perspective, economics perspective, it has definitely surprised us.
Wow, that's great to hear. I think one of my final questions would be, what would you say some of the biggest lessons you've learned would be throughout your journey?
I'm just lucky that this asset class or set of countries I'm covering, you cannot use the same playbook or same model what you have used a couple of years ago. Global economics is changing, financial liquidity is changing, the winners and losers keep changing. So the fact that I'm learning about countries and not using the old playbook is what really gets me going.
Let me take a different approach to this and apply it to kind of a career trajectory as well, right? And as in, yes, you want to work hard and learn, continue to learn, continue to ask these questions, but you also have to be flexible.
Yes.
Opportunities will come along for sure, and you just want to be ready when they do. And if you look at my career, obviously I went through the great financial crisis in 2008, 2009. That led to some career change, let's put it that way, in my lead that at that point in time I saw as a step back, and that was probably the biggest event or biggest step forward I took without knowing, because I kind of reoriented myself from managing money to actually being more in touch with clients, selling client services, etc., and understanding that part of the business. And then when I went back to managing money a couple of years later, I had that skill set that incredibly benefited me in building a new business at this point in time in Invesco. So be flexible. It may look like it's a step back. It is not. Whatever doesn't kill you makes you better, I guess.
Exactly.
Look, there's a textbook for high yield, there's a textbook for mortgage-backed securities. I haven't found a textbook for emerging markets. That tells you a lot about that's not standardized.
Yeah.
But today the best thing is that emerging market currencies, many of the countries you and I trade, they finance in their own local currencies. So they don't rely on the external dollar issuance as they used to in the past. To me, this is a great achievement that countries like Brazil, Mexico, India, they don't need to come to the market and buy, issue a dollar-denominated paper. They can issue local currency paper up to 20-year, 30-year maturities. And that, to me, the economists call it the original sin problem, right? It has their countries have evolved to solve that. But please address that issue called original sin problem.
Wow. Thanks so much for this. Well, we're looking forward to having you in class.
Likewise. Looking forward to participating and hope for a lot of participation from
yes. We can guarantee that there'll be a lot of participation from students. We're lucky to have you, and we're hoping to learn a lot from your experiences. Thank you again for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you in class.
I'm also very pleased to welcome back to campus Pradeep Kumar. Pradeep is Principal and Portfolio Manager for PGIM Fixed Income's Emerging Markets Debt Team. So again, his area of work is also related. And Pradeep is also a parent of a current Cornell undergrad student. So welcome back to campus, Pradeep. It was a pleasure to meet you for the first time today. I think without further ado for this, I will give it back to you. And to you.
By the way, also I met my wife here 30 years later, 2 kids later.
And he's still with her.
Same wife.